You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the Meta. The Meta controls everything. The Meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.
And we're live! It worked! I made it. Well, kind of. There you go. That's better. So, we're live, and we have a lot of guests and a whole lot of no Mittens. Because, I don't know, Mittens decided to abandon us today. Like I abandoned us last week to go to my family reunion. So, or the week before. What was it? Week before? Last week? I don't know.
Did we start yet? I'm back.
Yes, we started! Great timing!
Hello.
Hi!
I just go get some alcohol because I drink through this sober.
I would be drinking, but I have to babysit, so I'll be babysitting tonight. So we have Merkel-chan here. Merkel-chan's going to be our special guest host. He's taking over for Mittens, as Mittens has to be gone. And then we have special guest Asher Elias, Jay Masons, and K-Color here to provide, as always, K-Color's color commentary. Today's going to be an interesting meta show because we don't have a wonderful schedule as we normally do. Our schedule is literally the title of the show, Mock Our Enemies. And to start that off with, I have a wonderful infographic to show you. If I can figure out where I put it. Whoops, that's not it. Great, I'm already breaking the show. But anyways, we're going to mock our enemies. As soon as I find where I put the damn graphic. There it is! Okay, here we go. We're going to talk about this. This is a screen capture of Declan. It's what Declan looks like in the last 24 hours. And I have to get your opinion, Merkel-chan. What do you think about the fact that there's not a lot of numbers here? There's lots of zeros.
I heard Declan was a good region for PvE. Is that not true?
I'm not sure, Asher. I mean, what do you think? Do you think Declan's a great place to go routing and mining right now?
Oh, I hate these kind of shows because, as you know, to be in Illumin Goonswarm, you have to take the Myers-Briggs personality test, and then we file you based on what you come through. And as an ENTP, I have to play devil's advocate. It doesn't matter if I believe it or not. I just cannot dogpile people. So you're putting me in a position where I'm going to have to defend NC Dot and Darkness and GFG this entire show, and I hate you for it.
Someone has to defend Darkness.
They won't do it themselves, that's for sure.
That's right. So, for what you guys are wondering what you're looking at right now, this is the hard work of the NGSA. We've been doing it, I think today is our 13th day. We did the math on this. The number, or I did the math. The number is slightly under 80,000 now. NPC kills in the last 24 hours. That puts them about just slightly under 25 billion ISK a day. That's going to make for a great thing next week. Because next week they're going to release the June stats on the monthly economic report. And I can't wait to see it.
What is that, like T-Rats killed for every player we have in our alliance or something like that?
Yeah, probably. Listen, Bo, let me ask you a question. Matt makes me think of this. Just word association. So just give me the first thing that you think of. One, I say this. So Bugle Boy, Jenko, and Z Cavarici. Which word do you associate with the strongest?
What? I don't... Army?
Z Cavarici? Like,
okay, well,
early 90s high fashion, buddy.
So he's going to dodge the hard questions, clearly. Asher, same question for you.
By the way, I'm going to answer for Boat. It's Jinko.
Jinko. Okay, so
if Boat didn't wear Jinkos and a wallet chain during his youth, I will punch myself in the
face. I didn't. Right. No, I didn't. I didn't wear the big baggy pants and the long wide pants. I didn't do any of that during my youth. No.
So what did you?
Jeans? Really?
What did you wear to the Korn concert then?
I never went to a Korn concert. I've never gotten the chance to. No, I wasn't.
Clearly, we've got you all wrong.
But how many copies of the Matrix soundtrack did you own?
I did own one. I actually really enjoy the Matrix. Matrix is a great movie. So is the Animatrix. I don't know if you've ever seen the Animatrix, but it's a dark fucking movie. Like, they really go into the details of how the world dies, and it's fucking crazy.
What did you wear then for like pants, boat, and your budding?
I wasn't. You gotta remember, I was a wrestler. I was an athlete, so I wore like
Ooh,
shorts and t-shirt and shit.
Okay. Big one. Big question then. Do you have a unitard in your house right now?
I have 3 singlets. Yeah, I have a Florida State singlet that I wore for nationals, and then I have a USA World singlet I wore to Worlds, the Pan American Games, and then I have a couple of college ones.
When are you going to wear one of the singlets on the Meta Show?
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
I tried to get into one the other day and almost ripped it. Because you have to realize, I weighed 180 pounds when I used to wear that singlet. I weigh about 350 right now, so. Yeah, it ain't happening.
Especially if it's kind of, I don't know, maybe like tight in the groin area or something. That'd be sweet.
Oh, I should do that for one of my shows where I just get drunk, wear a singlet, put on the boat hat, and go to work. Oh, that would be.
Can you imagine the audience numbers we'd have if Boat just wore the boat hat? Oh my goodness.
Well, that's the thing is they have clothing guidelines, so I'd have to wear something like the singlet would work, because the singlet's a double strap, so I mean it'd be fine, but.
You'd have to cover the nips, I think.
See, here's the thing, all right? So get to go on to an Eve topic here. Here's the thing that bugs me, right? We can do something like this. Like, we're having fun at the expense of a video game, right? We're here enjoying ourselves. This is something I could never picture GOTG doing. Like, just sitting around enjoying themselves. So, and this is where I bring in Jay Amazes. How much fun do you think that coalition is having right now?
I have a brain freeze at the minute, Boat. Can you come back to me?
But did you ever go on, like, I know you lost a Revenant while being a member of Mortis Angels, but did you ever go on one of their fleets?
Yeah, I was originally in their fleet when I lost it. Remember, they kicked me out of the fleet.
I mean, on like an agent. Like, did you ever actually fly?
No, not Mortis Angels. I did do it with. I see. I've been on a slice fleet before, and that was AIDS as a slice pirate.
MOA fleets were such a joyless affair. Like, you know when those nerds are like battle comms, guys, battle comms.
Yeah. Yep.
Just imagine that the whole fleet.
Okay.
On the way there, on the way back.
A lot of people. The FC differentiate here with me on this. There's a reason why I hate silence on fleets. Like, there's got to be some background discussion. There's got to be some enjoyment. It's a fucking video game, and there's so many of our enemies that I've spied on.
You never heard yourself talk that you didn't really enjoy it. Let's be honest here.
There's that too, but no, you never like. There's not an enemy fleet I've ever been on. PL, NC, all these other people I've spied on. They're silent. They have to keep their members silent. They don't talk to them. They don't tell them updates. They just, okay, we're going to go fight this thing. An hour later, press F1. Yeah, like, there's no enjoyment there.
They tell them lies, and then they lie to their allies. Like, who was it? I can't remember. Who's the streamer? Averin Diaz? Or GOTG just lied to his face, like, oh, goons are hard forming. And then he has, like, all of Horde, like, clone jump over to fucking 7X or whatever.
Yeah, I talked to him after that. I'm like, well, why'd you have your guys' clone jump? And he was like, oh, yeah, well, you guys pinged 5 times. So, like, so were you looking at our pings, or were you told that? He's like, yeah, they told me. And I'm like, oh.
We don't. That's one thing that's different from the hostels that we don't do. Is like they'll ping like a bunch of times for a fleet. We just ping once or twice.
Yeah. So here's another thing. I mean, even if we ping 10 times, it doesn't matter. The point is like. We've come up with a list. We thought about doing this on INN, but INN declined. Is taking our enemies' pings to show that, you know, goons are rage forming, and then showing the last hour of goon pings to be like, yes, we're totally forming. This is what we're doing. Like almost like a Dell fact check or a Declan fact check. But I mean, here's something you're gonna enjoy. So you gotta see this. So if you guys look at the screen real quick, you're gonna see 2 things. You're gonna see local in 1DQ1, and then you're going to see local in their stager in ZOYW. The staging system ZOYW currently has 3 AFK campers and 31 GOTG.
Compared to that's kind of tragic.
Compared to and they just broadcast it for a fleet too. So I mean, that's in the middle of Euro Prime on a Saturday afternoon. And then you look at the Declan side of things in 1DQ1. 555 people, of which there's only 1 neutral.
Jay, what was it that gave you a brain freeze, man? Are you okay?
I was eating a popsicle.
if you've ever seen Jay eat a popsicle, he does it differently than the average human being.
I would know. I don't know if it's different than the average human being, but let's just say we don't eat the same way.
I don't think you get quote unquote punished for lying to your guys about that, because how many people actually have, like, you know, how many people actually get goon pings? Like, it's not hard to get goon pings, but it takes some effort. So if you tell your guys that goons pinged, you know, 5 times for this and it's not true, they don't have a way to verify it, and they're not going to believe a goon.
Well,
when he says it.
That's the thing. So imagine if you ever heard the term fake news. That's their like go-to mantra is don't read Reddit. Everything goons say on there is fake news. So if they say that we're lying to you, it's all fake. Don't believe them. We're the honest ones here.
That's what they're saying from their perspective.
Yeah, that's what they're telling their guys. Hey, don't read Reddit because goons are just going to lie. So if you see them, like if you see Asher put a broadcast of mine on there, Right Rick will usually come back with a retort saying, no, that's not real. That's not the case. Asher, you're just lying. You're making shit up.
Oh, by the way, those NC people worked on the Titan. That's a fake D-scan.
Yeah.
Right, fake D-scan. I remember that.
Actually, you're slamming him back, dude. What are you drinking?
Actually, Land Shark Lager. It's summertime here in the States, and that's one of like the go-to kind of cheap, easy, fun beers, like Corona, something like that.
Cheap and easy, right up your alley.
It's my specialty. Hey, how did that?
Hey, battle comms, guys. Don't talk about this. Battle
please,
comms.
check. How did that? I saw that Ragnarok kill mail floating around.
Yeah, I showed it on stream.
What's the deal there?
So he tried to do. I guess in Eve you have these things now where the Blood Raiders sites can move around all of Eve, because apparently having Blood Raiders and Blood Raider space is not good for Eve. We never get Garistas, but they get the Blood Raider sites. So this guy tried to do it with a double tanked Ragnarok and still died to the rats because those rats fucking hurt and they have dreads and they murder you.
Well, did you finish the site?
I highly doubt it. Looks like he was trying to do it solo. Based on the reports I got.
I mean, just looking at that FET, like, that should not survive regardless. No matter how many facts they had there, that thing's gonna die.
Well, the thing is, no other facts are dead on the thing. Like, those rats would have murdered a fax. So, it's pretty sure he just tried to solo this. He thought he could sit there aligned, try and solo it, and then just got vaporized.
The Blood Raider Satios, which I'm told, because we don't actually run them ourselves, are very dangerous. They newt. The Blood Raiders ones newt, and they do not seem to have a maximum distance. We've supposedly, from what I'm told, had dreads at like 800 kilometers still hitting, because they just ignore the whole lock range and the whole optimal thing.
So I want to share something, and you guys are seeing this live on stream here. This is a kill mill from a couple of nights ago, where we killed a Hell on a Sino beacon with a bunch of bombers that he didn't see coming. This guy tried to get help, rather unsuccessfully. And Merkel Chen, you might like this one. So instead of screaming for help in like the standard channels,
isn't that where they live in that system?
No, wasn't their stager. This is where they keep all their supers and titans when they go north, right? Oh, but this guy likes to jump to the beacon. But instead of calling for help in like normal channels where it's like Alliance or maybe even in some kind of voice comms, he called for help in their escalations channel they use for all their botters to like report, hey, I have an escalation here, please buy it. And he screamed for help in there for a few minutes.
10 out of 10 people save him?
No one saved that.
That's too bad. You know what? Because
he died to bombers.
He did get escalated on. It's probably the proper.
I was going to say, let me be the first one to say that there's a chance if you called for help in our escalation channel that you would actually probably get it.
Yeah, you would. That's the thing.
Do you guys ever feel like making fun of other people for losing supers in a dumb way will probably come back to bite us eventually, like within 3 minutes?
No, I don't think
we help people who don't even ask for help. We had one guy last night fucking close his client after doing his site and just sitting in there in space getting aggressed by bombers. He didn't even ask us for help, but we just found him and saved him.
You're a Murchie guy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a Murchie guy. And we had to yell at Murchie to find him, and the guy apparently just logged off for the night and didn't even think. He thought his shit would safe warp somewhere and he'd be fine. But it's kind of I don't know if it's the personalities or what, because you have Riot Red, who's semi-AFK, who occasionally will come on Reddit and do a thing. You have Sword Dragon, which nobody's heard from Sword Dragon in about a week. I haven't seen a single thing out of Sword Dragon. It just feels like they're on the death throes, and it's all because of a bunch of people with cloaks fit and T1 executioners.
I have like super fresh in my memory.
Yep.
Like 2 years ago when we were getting our teeth kicked down our throat and staggering backwards looking for somewhere to crash so we didn't completely flame out. And it just makes me think, like, maybe that's why we overreact so much when someone else fails, because we really got the shit beat out of us, not only in game but outside of game. It was incredibly relentless. So I think this is just one of those things where, Asher, I don't really worry about all that shit losing eventually or whatever. It's going to happen again one day. So we might as well at least take advantage while you've got the high ground.
See, I don't know about that. See, Merkel-chan, the thing is these guys have, from Cloud Ring to Geminate, blue. You know, kind of like we did back in the day where we had a lot of places blue, big coalition, but nobody's coming to help these people. I mean, yeah, you got, you know, PL and NC supers will eventually show up and then shoot them when they're bored, but they don't. None of their blues are helping. Like, it'd be one thing if they were getting their teeth kicked in while having thousands of people defending them, and they're getting their teeth kicked in by couples of thousands more. You know, I think that's a little difference there, you know?
What does it take to kill Alliance in EVE these days? What really do you have to do?
Apathy. They just not care about the game anymore.
I don't know, you killed Brave.
You know what, though? So, because sometimes it's just a matter of, like, you get the right one or two people out of the way, and then it's inevitable. You know, like what's Black Legion like without Elo? You know, one of those.
Exist, yeah.
I could tell you from experience that happened in Goons once. You had Cartoon as the CEO, and there were 3 active directors, including myself at the time, and so he just fired all 3, waited about 2 weeks, and then stole everything and burned the Alliance down, right? And there were 4 or 5 like higher level executive directors who could have stopped him, but were all AFK, you know. So that happens. If you look at MOA, all the good like people, and I use good as a very limited term, but they biomassed. They quit. You know, was it Massadeath or who was that guy? Genevieve? What was the one, Asher, that biomassed because PL killed him?
Erebus Sign.
Oh, yeah, Erebus Sign kill. Yeah, that guy.
He said he was going to, but then like everyone's like, "I'm going to steal your name," and he just.
Once again, that's yeah. So what I was going to say is, I don't think you can kill an alliance these days through direct military confrontation, because everyone is to some degree aligned with either the NCPL block or the Goon test block. So, and I say that now because there's no more Russian block. So you can't kill them directly, because if you attack them in a direct way, everyone will show up, and once there are that many people in one area, the battles can't be fought. Like, you can't kill a Keepstar, you can't kill a Fortizar. We just saw that. Like,
yeah.
So you have to do it indirectly. You have to ruin their will, and I to a degree it's always been this way, but I think even more so now. You have to ruin their will to fight rather than actually ruin their military capability to fight.
Right. I think it starts from the ground up too. So if you ruin their will, i.e. through this wonderful plug of the NGSA, if you like AFK camping, join NGSA today. We accept everyone, including neutrals, and you get free PAP links. But anyway, so you break that. You break the individual line member, the guy who doesn't want to log in anymore because he's not able to afford to play the game how he wants, right? When you're low on money and not able to actually make money because, to quote one line member, Asher is dropping on literally anything that moves. Eventually it starts that way and then works its way up. And then when the line member looks up at leadership and goes, "What are you doing about this?" And you have Sword Dragon reply, "It's a valid game mechanic, deal with it," without actually providing a solution, it can end really badly. But I mean,
I've got a quote for you, and I know you love quotes. This is a quote. This is from a CO2 leadership. And here's the quote. It goes, "Over the past few months, it's become increasingly clear that we, CO2 in this case, that we have served only as a meat shield. Circle of Two is not a meat shield. We will not stand as the wall that defends Declan from angry hordes for the benefit of GOTG. We will no longer, subject our pilots to the indecency of watching their hard work burn while GOTG sits in their ivory tower. We will no longer stand as an unequal partner in the North. It's actually not a quote. I just changed it. I changed goons to GOTG. That was a quote from Circle of Two 2 years ago.
The thing about it is at the end of the day, I don't understand what they're gonna do. Like, there's nothing they can do.
So Asher, you're saying they're repeating history then? What's different these days? I guess
it's the exact same thing. I mean, there's nothing different. They have literally put themselves in as the meat shield that defends Declan. And
they're they're even stronger than the people they're meat shielding for, though. At this point, right?
I know they are. Like,
they formed a full cat fleet the other night, and got debated by a random Sino generator that they forgot to check if it was inhibited or not. But like, when you form a full cat fleet, and the people that you're standing in the way to defend cannot do that, maybe it's time you usurp the order.
So,
but they could downsurp it too. I mean, whatever surfing they want to do.
there was a good question in chat. Like, K-Color, here, you answer this. You've been around forever. Is it a bad thing to is it bad for EVE Online if you do actually finish off another alliance? How's that play out?
Well, otherwise it's basically just arranged fights where you fight, one side goes, okay, we lost. And they decide, okay, good fight, and then they just let them rebuild until the conflict happens again. Like, it's the whole thing about EVE is you need this absolute victory. Like, if you don't evict them from the space, you've just spent all this time basically just having good fights. And if you want to have good fights, that's fine, but that's not a war.
Asher, I remember your quote now. Someone just linked it in chat. That was when they backstabbed us 2 years ago. And joined PL. That was the Reddit post they made.
Well, I guess that's the takeaway then from what K-Color is saying. It's as an alliance in EVE Online or a coalition or whatever. It's not up to you to worry about finishing the other guy off. That's kind of the victory point, you know. So they'll scatter, they'll go to other places, they'll move to low sec and rebuild, they'll do something. So there's no reason why you would ever take your foot off their throat when you finally got them there.
Look at CO2. GigX gets banned. GigX says we're done, we're disbanding. All of those corps and groups go and scatter throughout the North and join all their blues. You know, GOTG, NC Dot, all them. Then GigX gets unbanned because CCP is kind.
No, he did not get
unbanned. He made a new fucking account.
So CCP allows him to play the game again under the name The GigX, which is totally not the same. Nope, not possible. I was making a quack at CCP. And they all come back, right? They reform the alliance. Like, that's the thing. We talked about this on the Meta Show a few months back. The game, when the alliance dies, it's not like those individuals die off. Just the name. Those corps are going to find a home. So 0-0 doesn't really change that much. Very rarely anymore, at least in the last 4 or 5 years, do you have a group, when they fail Cascade, okay, they're on their way to Empire. They're done. That's it. You know, they're going to have to, like, rebuild entire corps and alliance structures, and it's really over. Not really. I think the corps themselves just move on. You're seeing that with Moa. When Moa died, Massive Death went and joined NC Dot. MC is going that way. Apparently they're having a lot of internal strife and struggle, and Mercenary Coalition's about to fail Cascade. And then you're seeing that with the drone lands.
How much drama can 10 people have? Like, it's...
I'm sorry, drama?
Drama?
I don't... How many drama units can they have?
That's pretty... Yeah, I don't know. The last time K-Color went on a boat, he took some Dramamine, and he felt much better.
I don't know. That's how we say it up here in Canada.
I know.
Drama.
It's fair. So, I'm told, in defense of GigX, I'm told that he is wearing one of those, like, pair of glasses with the nose and a mustache now. So they're having trouble.
they might not be able to see him. That's a good point. That's a valid question. But here's my question. Is EVE now, with the death of XIX and the drones, now split officially in half? Us versus them. Because I would say we work really well with Test. We help Test help us. You know, we have a very blue troll relationship with Test. But
where's the Test helping us part? When does that happen?
I don't think it ever has. But
asking the hard questions.
They showed up for that $1 million fund.
Yeah, never mind. Yeah, so, but no, I mean, look, I'm gonna say this: I've in all my years of playing this game, never would I think that Pro God Legend would ask for help from a goon, and it happened recently. So, you know, that sometimes things change. But moving forward, skill yourself, and you know, Hard Knocks and all them. We know for a fact that those guys are all directly tied into NCPL. As much as Pandemic Horde lately tries to claim that they are a strong independent alliance, Kate Color, you noticed an anomaly recently yourself. Do you care to share?
Oh, you see like a broadcast from Killer B being like, "Oh, by the way, I'm FCing you guys tomorrow. Better show up." Like, what happened to the Horde FCs? Yeah, Killer B of NCs. Like, I'm FCing you guys now. And
Best One FC is a streamer.
It's the same thing that happened last time. Is anytime something major happens, Horde FCs just get pushed out of the way, and in comes Papa PL or Papa NC to lead their fleets.
I've been meaning to talk about this on my next podcast, but I'll bring it up here. I think Horde has an issue, and if you like read their broadcast, or if you have a spy in there, you'll see it too. Is that they've actually become too good, and I'll explain how. It used to be you would go on a roam and you'd be like, let's go to Horde space because we'll get some kills, we get a fight. They have optimized their fits and their responses to the point where that they win all the fights that they get, and so people have stopped roaming there. Now they still have them, but thank you for putting up the Groucho Marx CO2 disguise, gigax to size. But the problem is that so you'll see Horde pings and like, oh yeah, guys, no, we don't get as many fights anymore, so we're gonna go out and go find one ourselves now, and that's all well and good. But I'm worried that if your Horde, doesn't that compromise your identity, because you cannot like have a space that's safe like Delve is for goons. So you're not going to be an industrial powerhouse. You don't have good FCs. You don't have good doctrines. Like you don't have. You're not going to be a military powerhouse like any number of alliances.
Horde has good FCs. It's just they've segregated themselves into their own little interest groups, like
right.
And,
no.
The foreign thing.
Well, I would say it's worse than that too. It's not that they're on their own little separate groups. It's they have their own separate corp now. Like basically, so for the longest time, and you guys might not remember this because Horde tends to do a revisionist history of this, but for a very, very long time, Pandemic Horde was the promise of joining PL. You know, get into Pandemic Horde, you do well, you're going to go join PL, and everyone's going to be happy, and the world's going to be a better place. But then PL realized, well, we don't actually have to accept them. We can make a special corp that's PL-like, that's still in Horde and still segregated away from us, that they'll blindly join. And that's what's happening now, is they're taking all their talent, and they stick it in a special corp. And that special corp gets the perks, they get the ships. And...
Are you spinning this as a Pandemic Legion thing? Because I think that's a Horde thing. They don't want to lose their talent, so they have created an alternative.
No, yeah, it's definitely a PL thing. No, it's a PL thing.
It's not, though, I don't think. I think that's a Horde thing. Horde seriously? Leadership is like, yeah, because you don't, like, these Horde guys, like, while they're aligned with CO2, like, you don't think there's individual pride? You don't think they're like, well, we could, sorry, I don't know if I said CO2, I meant PL there.
Individual pride? No, I don't think there's.
Okay, I think you're underestimating a human element.
You gotta understand.
They don't wake up. The leadership in Horde doesn't wake up and go, "Wow, another great day being PL's bitch." Just because they are doesn't mean they want to be. And your assumption is that they want to be PL's bitch. They don't. They want to keep those good, pilots. So they've made a separate system so that these people can feel better than the average Horde person who joined because he wants good fights. And has no,
I see you're playing devil's advocate here, but let me just tell you the fact. Gobbins is a PL bitch. I've met the man in real life several times. He works for PL. He does what PL needs. If PL says take Horde and go here, he goes there. That's what he does. Horde was putting Gem in it to help kill XIX. Because PL saw that XX couldn't handle Horde being on their doorstep. It was a way to kick out the Kavala Expanse and install more renters. Hard Knocks, skill yourself, same way. it was designed to get rid of XIX because they didn't want to have the middleman. And that's the same thing with the Pandemon Horde Light group, right? You're starting to see a specific group within Horde do elite PvP drops, but even them, they have no requirements. There's nothing special about it, any difference than being able to fly a certain ship.
Isn't Horde like segregating out places that people can rat in based on their standing within the alliance? Like it seems like a really slippery fucking slope.
Anyway, you kind of stepped over my point though. But my point is that if you are trying to recruit and you are a Horde recruiter, what do you tell people that you need? Like that they can do to join? Like what can Horde do for you that's better than something else? And I think that they have put themselves in this weird valley where they are not yet good, but they have made themselves not bad enough that people don't want to roam into their space anymore. So it used to be like, yeah, it's easy to join and you'll get a lot of fights and a lot of content comes to you. But that doesn't happen anymore. Like they have way less people coming to their space. Delve is designed so that people don't come to our space. Like we don't want you to. Don't bring a fun run to Delve. We're going to drop Titans on you. But we have our own recruitment that is a benefit, not a negative. But for them, their recruitment was like, yeah, come, and it's going to be like Brave, but it's better run. You're going to have more fun than anywhere else. But they have designed the fun out of their space.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, though, right? I think you're missing one little thing. Horde was originally designed for a way for PL to capitalize on the wave of Reddit. They saw what happened with Brave. They saw what happened with Test. What happens when you, crowdsource your people, go out there into a place like Reddit, find as many people that were or never played the game before, and stuff them in an alliance, and use them in any way possible by telling them it's for the betterment of it's how you're supposed to play the game, right? Horde did AFK camping of SMA space. They were turning over like thousands of pilots a week. People would come into the game, spend a week AFK camping in T1 frigate, and then leave the game because it was the most boring fucking mind-numbing thing you could do at that time as a brand new player, right? They didn't have alts, they didn't have other characters, so the Horde turnover was huge, right? They would have 10, 11,000 people online or in the alliance, but maybe 1,000 ever played at a time. So I think that's the issue now, is that you have a Horde that has the skill points to fly Nightmares and Macarials, form cap fleets and super fleets, but they don't have the structure there. They just kind of serve the betterment of whoever tells them to do something.
This is kind of my territory. I think that you're both right in a lot of ways. Like you want to start a try-hard group, number one, in your organization, because you can't hitch your wagon to being a newbie-only place forever. You eventually have to grow up and get a super fleet and get Titans and all that bullshit. So the sooner you can do that, the better. But at the same time, Asher, I think, is right that if you're putting all this administrative bandwidth and time into building Horde, this organization and this infrastructure and all these things, you're like not super pleased when you see like your best FC moves to PL, or the guy that you liked hanging out with in Standing Fleet is suddenly in PL now and gone. And nobody wants to be like, there's nobody in Horde leadership that's like, boy, it's going to be really fun to be an organ donor, for PL. Let's just hope we get another day waking up with 2 kidneys.
Can I address that? People weren't going to PL from Horde anyway. PL would not accept people out of
Horde.
Right,
no, they never got to join. It was the allure.
They were going to sort of lesser but better groups.
Noted fantastic FC Willem Crane is now in PL.
Oh my goodness.
He's in #1 Corp Hoover.
Did he have like pictures of someone? Like what? How did he do that?
I'm not too sure.
Apparently, Karma Fleet is our feeder alliance.
I will say this, though, and we had this happen because NJC, I don't know if you heard about this, Merkel-chan, but lately, GOTG, we'll get back to GOTG now, they've been telling their individual, corps have been telling their people, put your farming alts in Horde, because there's no way you're ever going to make enough money in Declan, because it's just too camped and dropping everyone. They originally wanted people to join Karma Fleet and ASCII, but couldn't get people into those groups because of recruitment closures. What do you think about the fact that our enemies would rather have their guys in Horde join us than have to suffer under the yoke of Asher?
Well, they will be paying our SRP bills, I guess, in that case, which is pretty stupid.
I welcome them. If these GOTG people want to join ASCII Kyber Fleet to rat in mine, they're going to see, holy shit, this, I'm not being oppressed by my own alliance for trying to talk on comms.
Yeah, I think that the very best thing that can happen for us is for them to send people to us as ratting alts. Like I don't think they'll be alts for that long. If you are in Goonswarm Federation now as a ratting alt and you like it, you're welcome to let us know that you got sent here as that, and you can join as a full member.
My question, and this will go around the room, I guess, and this is a pretty heavy one. Right now, it's gotten to the point, and Asher pointed this out, or maybe it was Jay, that or K-Color, one of you three did it, where when you get a big fight that happens on grid, on a single target, it doesn't matter if it's a Fortizar or a Keepstar, if enough people show up, the structure isn't going to survive, and there's going to be no victor. It's just going to be a whole lot of losses. But at the end of the day, if you can afford the losses, then who cares? So where does EVE go now? EVE, I think, in my opinion, is split in half. You have them and us. So what happens next? What happens in the next 6 months? Does EVE start to change, or does it stay where it's at now?
Sounds like you're dealing in absolutes both.
I am, because I don't see, in the years I've played, I've played 11 years now, as of August, right? I just don't see any changes in the last few years, unlike in the past. You know what I mean? Like, there's no shakers and movers disappearing from the game as a whole.
Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to assault someone's Fortizar they put down with 50 guys? Like that's not a winning strategy. This game encourages you to bunch up. Like there's no effective way. It's hard. We've already seen it's like you can't kill a Keepstar with 6,000 people because the server dies. But you certainly can't do it with 60 unless they just do not defend it at all. So the game is encouraging people to bunch up, and capitals are extremely powerful, so you need to have a capital fleet. So as long as that's the case, then you'll see more and more consolidation.
People are talking about FozzieSov in chat. I would like to bring up the great news about fucking claws getting nerfed a little bit. They will no longer be able to alpha as hard. Their DPS will stay the same.
It's a rate of fire or something?
Yeah, it's rate of fire. They're changing flat damage to rate of fire. So the DPS will be the same, but one shot will be less.
Wait, if they're changing rate of fire, that's the other way around. Then the alpha stays the same, but the DPS lowers.
No, it's losing the damage bonus, the flat damage, and gaining.
Okay, it's gaining rate of fire. Okay. Well, and here's something. Okay, this was announced. Last night at EVE Down Under. The bridge is now coming to the game in the form of a structure that can be anchored by Fortizars, by Keepstars, and they're looking to make that bridge functionality work anywhere in the game, save probably wormhole space. Good for the game or bad? Like having a bridge structure regardless of SOF.
Well, they said that might be later on, but it'll require SOF initially.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. They're changing all the POS mechanics to basically just be structures you anchor in space. So now in 1DQ we're gonna have like all of the Stargates, I assume, like within range of the Keepstar or on grid with the Keepstar. So now we can camp everything.
We can just bubble fuck the regular gates and just use those.
Yeah, we could just. Didn't they say they wanted to like add fatigue to taking like the player-made gates, something like that too?
Yeah, they're gonna treat them as jump bridges. Fatigue will come with them. You have to connect them between two gates. So, but they've always had this dream, and this is a long-running dream, and I hope it comes to the game because I'm a big fan of this, of player gates in enemy territory. If I manage to online a gate in one system and a gate in another system, I've just created my own personal bridge between the two, and now I can go from Roar to Declan. And if these people are too bad to form up to stop me, I'm there, right? Like, it's going to be... That would be absolutely amazing if that's the functionality they're coming with. They are adding... They said they do want to have aids. Oh, they do... Okay, so Apple Player just said they wanted to do this without aids. That's interesting. And you can only have one per system.
Jump take in this game.
Well, you can only have one per system, though.
It would still just be like an old jump bridge then? I mean,
yeah, it's a jump bridge that sits next to a Fortizar as like a structure. It's anchorable within Fortizar gun range. They said the long-range guns will be able to defend it. And that they're going to try to treat it like posses so it can be reinforced at any time. But an interesting point about these things, and I thought this was interesting, is the entire time that they're anchoring, so the 3 hours it takes or whatever, they're shootable. Unlike current structures, which are 15 minutes, and then you have to wait till the thing onlines, and then you have another 15, 30 minutes, whatever, to kill it, this will be killable the entire time.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it actually generates some kind of mail or something. Because the fucking anchor timer of 15 minutes with no notification just means you have to be like watching your space every day, all day. And
well, no, they said it would take 3 hours. So it would take 3 hours for the thing to come online, and during that 3 hours, it's shootable. But here's the thing: if they limit it to one per system, we would just stick one in literally every system of Delve and Delve and Aquarius.
You can do that with posses right now. So no, it's jump bridges to be limited to one, not
right.
Not the
but these are the player gates. And if they're limited to one, then our enemies could never drop one, right? They'd have to blow up ours first.
Sure, but you're not going to maintain a structure like deep in Declan.
Or are they going to be like, oh, here, we dropped a gate from PR Tech to 1DQ, and be like, thanks, we don't have to do that now.
That, I'll be honest, being able to do it in low-sec is going to be the best thing. Or not low-sec, in NPC 00. Connecting places like G-TT to 1DQ1, when PL jump clones, we can instantly get there, would be absolutely amazing for this.
No, you wouldn't have to wait for a bridger. Bridger wouldn't be in danger of bridging.
Right, literally undock, warp to it, jump, go.
I mean, then, that's a great theory, but like they said, that's way in the future of them wanting to do it. It would have to be solved to solve right now. I still think they need to balance NPC space around the galaxy. I think that's kind of killing a lot of where the content gets to be created. I pushed this a long time ago, and I still want to push it now. That basically every nullsec region needs to have the same amount of NPC space and the same amount of NPC stations as everything else. There shouldn't be one region has, what do we have, 12 NPC stations in ours, and then half of the other galaxy doesn't have any NPC space in it? I get that they don't want it to be just a mirror of everything else, but it kind of needs to be a little bit more balanced if you actually want to have content be created across the galaxy.
I don't know. I like the idea of player gates, but I just don't know if it's going to work without having NPC space in places. Because, again, if you look at Delph for the example, we're going to have one in every system. No enemy is going to be able to just walk in and drop one of these things. But then if you look at Declan's not very active. There's parts of Declan that have 0 rats killed for weeks at a time. 0 mining done for weeks at a time. That place is dead. And if, just so happens that we drop one of these jump bridges there, that could be very interesting.
Well, are they going to be? Did they say if they're going to be restricted by standings, or?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Are we going to have this jump or this gate in the one?
This is like wild speculation based on a couple slides that gave us almost no information.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just seeing where this will go, because again, if they do allow it, one thing they pointed out was faction warfare getting these, because they want to be able to bridge the gaps between faction warfare.
Why are they so fucking focused on faction warfare? Like,
faction warfare is the future.
Because they wanted to change refitting in warp because of faction warfare. They wanted to do all this bullshit to the game because of faction warfare.
Because
I'm sure that the 12 people that do it care, but the rest of us fucking don't.
Well, because all the people the work that would need to be done to actually fix faction warfare would be a lot of work. These are little band-aids they can do.
I think it helps that 2 of the 7 people that do faction warfare are on the CSM, so that conversation probably bubbles up to the surface pretty frequently.
I don't know. I only did faction warfare to solo PvP and stream it. I think that's the only thing you see. You see bots, and you see people that want to solo PvP and show on their stream that they're good at solo PvP, and they don't want to go to 0-0. And here we go. This happened recently. So Chesser, we all know who Chesser is. That Chesser says that capitals are broken, and that Rorquals need changed because him and his 3 friends cannot kill it.
And you know what? He is totally right for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
Okay, so please tell me why this is right. I want to hear this. This is what I'm waiting
Axes
for.
are broken. AoE Doomsdays are the most dumb shit they've re-added to the game, because this isn't new. They had AoE Doomsdays before, and they had to remove them because of how fucking stupid they were. And Dreads are pretty garbage. Capital Newts are way too powerful.
I don't think Dreads are garbage because, I mean, Chesser got killed by a Dread, and apparently that's broken. I don't understand why that's broken, but
Rorquals are silly. They have an incredible local tank and a 5 to 7 minute invulnerability timer. It's stupid.
I think the Rorqual problem could be fixed by just limiting the amount of Ansel reps they could fit.
I agree. Just let them fit one, and you're in a much better place.
Oh.
Like, that'd be an easy fix, and I'd be fine with that.
Here's my take on it. I think Rorquals are balanced. In an example, last night, I was streaming. Okay, I was running around solo PvP, and all of a sudden,
Rorquals are balanced.
Well, let me explain. Hold on. Balanced in terms of like being able to be safe. I think Panic's in a good spot, right? I think Panic is good, and here's why. Last night, Bomber's Bar floods the stream. High boat from Bomber's Bar. You know the reason they're there. They found something in Delve. They're about to kill it. I immediately go and inform people, hey, Bomber's Bar just raided my stream. I'm pretty sure they've got something tackled. To the immediate reply of, yeah, they got a Rorqual tackled. He's panicked, and we're waiting to drop 30 Titans to save him. I think that's the good thing. If you have the capacity to save your people, you should never lose a Rorqual. A Rorqual should never die. If you have the capacity and the will to actually protect the people that fly them, and the person flying them is not a complete pants-on-head moron, they should never die. I don't think I've ever lost a super carrier ratting or a Rorqual mining while I did it live on stream in front of 300-400 people. Like, that should not live, but yet it does.
That also goes back to the addressing the need of how broken stealth bombers are against capital ships. Like,
So
they are the damage output and the range of a stealth bomber is way too high. It's basically the only thing you can kill capitals with right now.
Salty Goonie complains because he loses carrier, is what I hear.
So, Jay, question for you then, just regarding the capitals. So, you know how, like, if your economy that your alliance or corp or whatever is participating in starts to take off, you start to hit, like, certain benchmarks just organically where you're like, okay, so we've got a ton of disposable income, let's do this, or let's do that, or let's throw, like, a Dread fleet out somewhere where we could, take advantage of it someday or something like that. Do you think that we're going to reach a point, because it's more of a specialty behavior now where you'll see someone with like a meme Titan or super that they're using far afield from where they live or where their super fleet is from, but that's still like a super minority of people that do those kind of behaviors? Do you think we're going to get to a point where there's just so much money and such cheap supers floating around that you have like just a half a dozen friends that all have Nixes or something parked somewhere in NPC that they just screw around with and don't care if they lose?
Maybe, but I still don't think a lot of people do that. But you have to dedicate another pilot to sit in it. So it's basically another super carrier pilot you need. One thing that we have seen more of, though, is people having large Dread caches around the galaxy. And there's always been Dread caches, but they've never been as large as they have been.
The problem with capitals, it's hard to balance them because it used to be you would use capitals to siege structures, but the damage cap makes it so that would make no sense.
Why would you risk shooting a structure in a super carrier when you could do it with 7 stealth bombers?
Yeah, or just some battleships. No, so the problem is, if capitals can't be made or aren't going to be used for shooting structures, then they have to have some purpose. So they made carriers especially really good at killing pretty much all subcapitals. And so when T1 carriers are so cheap with insurance that it just makes no sense to use anything but them. They're really, really strong.
Meta was balanced very heavily 2 years ago and hasn't been touched since. It really needs to be balanced.
Here's a balance that I need to happen in this game, and a lot of people will disagree with me on this. I think that a Fortizar should be able to swat away subcaps more efficiently than it does. Right? Right now, a properly fit Fortizar cannot take out a battleship fleet. It can't. Yet it can take out a horde of dreads. No problem. So you throw 20, 30, 40 dreads at a Fortizar, it's probably going to kill most of them in its 30 minutes of being reinforced. But if you throw, a battleship fleet...
There's no reason to use caps.
But that's my point, right? They're super duper strong against caps, but then you can get an alliance with 100 guys come along and, they can take out your Fortizar.
Is a horde of dreads? Is that like a flock of them? Is that a unit of measurement that we use now?
I don't know. We have the Delve time unit or Delve farm unit or whatever it's called now. So I guess
I would say it's probably a battery of dreads. A battery of dreads would be the collective verb we'd use.
So you're right. You are, Asher. If you could, say you could get hotfixed in like a nerf of only one capital or super capital platform or weapon system or something like that, which one would you pick out as like the most fucked up?
Dreads are fine. They do their job. Titans, the BFG is it's overbalanced and the Haws are a little powerful, but it's got to be carriers. It'd be easily carriers. Supers are really strong too, but they're just they're just basically better carriers. So if you could do that, it would be carriers. They need to be tuned, but the problem is the ecosystem is encouraging them as much as the rest. I know there's some people who disagree, but I think generally sub-capital fights are more fun than capital fights. And right now, if the enemy is using carriers, there's really no reason to use subs if you can field your own carriers.
See, I would go with the AODD on the Titan, along with K-Killer. I think that's the one thing that really obliterates this game.
The problem is you can't remove one of the things without removing all of them. If you remove AoE Doomsdays, dreads with their capital units become a lot more powerful.
Remove AoE Doomsdays, reduce the range or tracking of Haws, nerf fax rep output, and lower the tracking of super carrier heavy long range fighters.
Haws are fine, just don't let Titans fit them. If only dreads fit Haws, then there's no problem.
Yep. And here's my here's one thing I've always proposed, and I want to get your all's opinion on this. And a lot of people, again, it's a crazy thing, but I, as a Titan pilot who owns an Erebus and a Leviathan, I think this is a valid point. Make Titan Siege to do the damage they do, and then give them even more damage. So maybe double, triple the damage, but they have to siege to apply it. Otherwise, they do dog shit. So a Titan has to go into siege. It has to risk its life for 5 minutes. But it does godly amounts of damage. I'm talking maybe even like 50, 60, 100,000 DPS. It can blow away everything that gets near it. But if you do get near it, it's not going to have fax reps. It's not going to... it puts Titans at risk. And I know people are going, oh, that's really dumb. But right now, you drop 30 Titans in Delve, they're not going to fucking die unless somebody's got 300 dreads. And even then, as we saw with Test, 300 dreads wasn't enough.
Or if you jump to your own beacon in your staging system.
I think Fax's ammo is a good system. I think that's better than what we had before. Do you agree that Faxes are better than Slowcats repping your fleet?
No.
Yes, but I prefer the way carriers used to have drones rather than fighters now. Fighters now are a lot more powerful than sentry drones ever were.
Oh yeah, because they're powerful. They're powerful 5,000 kilometers away from you.
Asher, I say no. Because Slowcats could move. Your whole fleet could be aligned. At any moment, your whole fleet's warping out safe. Right? Faxes don't move. So if, in the case of we killed that one Titan, when we dropped those 5 Titans in Roar, their faxes couldn't move. They siloed in, they went into siege to save one Titan, and then they couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, they made a mistake to let us kill 5 Titans,
right.
And it sounds like you think that was bad that they were
I'm saying
we punished their mistake.
Slowcats could have probably saved a couple of those Titans because they could have moved that distance in that time while still repping. They could have probably dropped in the middle.
Lower output though of reps. Like one apostle now reps 40 Slowcats worth of shit. So
Do you think it's that strong? Because someone said it was 10
Yeah, it's
to me.
way strong.
I'm still perplexed by the whole fighter change with CCP saying we want to make the server better. So we're going to add in all these fighters that each count as an entity and each do their own thing. And all this seems to have done is fucking killed the server stability.
Coming up supers today, and we shot like a Raytara that was in Delve. And we had like 100 super carriers, and no, actually no, we had like 60 supers, and they all launched fighters, and 12 Titans DC'd instantly because they launched fighters.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Remember that fighters are supposed to be the solution to the heavy tie-dye that carriers caused.
It's worse now than it's ever been.
I think that's probably not the case on a carrier per carrier basis. It's just there are more.
No, per carrier, it's probably not. Like one to one, it's probably not. But when you have
so much easier to get
hundreds and hundreds,
Yeah, carriers are so fucking cheap now. I'm talking $1 billion to get a carrier. You're gonna have hundreds and hundreds of them. The sheer number of them is staggering.
If I told you guys that in a year there was a major EVE war being fought and every fight was determined solely by capitals, the subs almost basically didn't matter, and were used essentially to protect bubbles and maybe bombs, like, would you think I was crazy, or would you think that's totally a possibility?
No, I think it's a possibility. I think it's going to happen within a month or two, when Goons deploy its shield fleet across Eve. You know how nasty? Like, no one's ever done it yet. Yeah, no one's ever taken an entire doctrine of supers and titans, all shield or all armor, either way, and just move them across Eve because of the way the mechanics of the game work now. You lose all your space if you do that. You look at PLNC Dot. They've been deploying for years, and they can't take their supers and titans with them, which is their biggest strength. Right? They have to resort to small dread bombs, or they have to resort to subcap fleets. You know what I mean? Like, no one's ever tried that. Hold on, Mark, you have to get a little higher up. They can't see it.
Yeah,
you have to like stand up a little bit.
In BTEC-R, we had to intentionally not bring subcaps into system just to make sure that the server didn't crash. We did not want that system to crash at that point because of how much was on grid. We did not
so
want
many
another
people were angry about that
CIP.
too.
Right, look at the fights now. The fights right now are siege versus siege, and I mean like siege carriers. Right, throwing your fighters across the gambit of a grid to fight each other because there's so much risk of, if you put your Dreads, Titans, and Supers on that enemy Fortizar, the game may crash for you, and you will die. I think there was a lot of anger and hate towards Sothra's Soul from our enemies because he went around killing dropped carriers. I think he killed like 20-some carriers that crashed. Oh, nice shirt. So, that's where the game is going, honestly.
So this seems crazy though, because what could you possibly do, even if they just made fighters like drones again? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna put it? The cat's out of the bag now. You're gonna make it so like one individual has to pilot each fighter, so you can't just drop 10,000 fighters and ruin a server.
I think give carriers one light fighter, one support fighter. They don't need 5 sets. Make that one fighter do as much damage as the 3. But you
5.
Oh, well, okay, 3. Limit it down. Make it 1. Whatever. I think they're trying too hard to make it diverse, and I don't think they need to. Right? They've introduced mechanics and things to make it so that they're trying to balance the game around PvE, I think. I think that's the problem. You look at
Mike, you must be new here if you're asking if someone other than Boat can talk.
Wow! Well, Mittens isn't here, so.
Savage.
I mean, do you think that though? So, Jay, do you think they balance the game around PvE too much? They try to balance PvE and then it affects PvP.
Yeah, they do. They did that a couple months ago, and they were like, "Oh, we were not happy with the way super carriers rat, so we're going to reduce their damage by 10%." And we're like, "Okay, why are you nerfing PvP because people are ratting too much? Maybe if you gave supers a purpose, and there's too much space is what it comes down to. There's too much space in EVE and not enough people playing it to justify having that many regions."
Yeah, I think EVE is too big, or they need to make it a globe change. so that now, Delve or Fountain or whatever is connecting all the way over to the other side of the galaxy. Just make it a fucking globe. It's just you make, instead of being flat where you have Fountain on the left.
You're saying the Earth is flat,
and Outer Passes are on the right. I'm saying that they make that, you basically just wrap it around and make it into a globe shape, so that now people on there's no real east or west. There's no furthest point. If something's happening in Cobalt Edge, Delve isn't as far, or Fountain isn't as far because it wraps around, and now we're creating more conflict.
So you can go 6 or 7 different ways to get there instead of you have to go in one straight line.
Yeah, it's something like that. That's what I was kind of thinking about a long time ago. Is that if the Earth was flat, I doubt that people would enjoy going from North America all the way to Russia.
Right, I see what you're saying. If Earth was like Eve, in the United States was the center, the U.S. would probably be the heaviest populated. It's like HiSec being the highest populated.
If they want to create conflict, it can't just be the players. The players are spread out. There's way too many systems. They need to do something that kind of shakes it up. And they tried doing that with the moons. They changed all that. They kept changing them. And then eventually they just went over to this new system. And now there's no one region that's rich in something.
Well, if you wanted if you wanted to attack something, people will just time out of whatever your time zone is, even if that's not their time zone. So you're actively discouraged from fighting people because they'll just time zone tank you to a time when you're both asleep. So that's one of the biggest discouragements for people trying to do something this time.
And the time zone thing is sadly solved by this cloaky camping solution. If you cloaky camp long enough and their ADMs start going down, then suddenly you're actually having timers that might be near your own time zone. And I asked Boris, I think, to do this a while ago about looking at how many SOV systems there are in EVE, looking at how many of them are timed to AU time zone, and then look at how many people actually play in AU time zone. So I'm fairly certain you'll see that a huge amount of timers are in AU time zone, and the population in that time zone is actually really small.
Yep.
And you can't just go around saying, "Oh, AU time zones are our strongest time zone." It's no, it's not. It's your strongest time zone compared to other people because no one fucking plays in that time zone.
Well, this is an interesting thing. Damn it! I forgot what I was gonna say. Fuck. I had something really great to bring up that I wanted to ask about the structure. Oh, Fozzie. Here we go. Fozzie has been quoted as saying that he won't touch local, or touch cloaky camping until he can mess with local. Right? He's not going to adjust cloaky camping until he can find a way to mess with local, because cloaky camping kind of helps balance out the people who don't have the ability to defend themselves. It allows for people to hunt the people who don't put the effort in, right? But is that a thing that's starting to trend at CCP? They're afraid to do the hard decisions because they're worried of things like Monocle Gate appearing again, where the vast majority of silent people freak out and just rage and get all upset, whereas us vocal minority that play the game maybe don't agree with it.
Hunters do not need an easier time. I think if you just go look at Zcal and see how many supers and shit and oracles are dying on a daily basis, Hunters do not need any more of an advantage by removing local. It just means that they have to put in a little bit more effort, and the people that are complaining about local and wanting it removed are usually the people that just want to log in and kill someone without having to do any work.
3 friends in Orthraces kill 10 billion-ish oracles.
What about the people that want AFK camping removed, like the cloaking bit of it?
The solution to dealing with cloaky campers is really easy to deal with cloaky campers. You just fucking counter drop them a few times and they'll get bored and leave. That's the easiest way to deal with them.
If you're too spread out in your space to be able to defend your ratters, You do not deserve that space. I believe that might be a quote from PL or NC sometime long ago when we lost Declan. I'm not sure because it always applies. If you're too spread out to defend your own people, you do not deserve that space. And if cloaky camping is stopping you from counter dropping on them because you can't deal with it, your region's too big or something like that, like you have to deal with it. Like complaining to CCP, going, "Hey, remove cloaky camping, guys." By the way, all that cloaky camping we did against you, yeah, no, that was fine. But as soon as you do it to us, we want that nerfed.
So how is it? You're playing devil's advocate today, Mr. Asher. Can you play devil's advocate with them screaming and hollering that they're just peaceful AFK miners and ratters, and that removing cloaky camping needs to happen because it's not fair that it's done to them, while forgetting the fact that they spent a year doing it to us?
We're talking a lot about how setup of the game has forced us into certain decisions that we feel are suboptimal. Setup of their alliance has forced them into the same thing in their coalition. The way that they have set up their coalition, it precludes them from defending it well. And as an individual person, that takes away a lot of your agency because you come up with an idea, hey guys, why don't we defend our guys? And then someone says, well, we can't do it because of this reason. And that actually makes you feel like a lot less, gives you a lot less agency. So when we feel powerless as players, we complain about that. And when they feel powerless as players, they complain about that. It's just what group is doing the setting up that is different here.
Yeah. Well, we're at 5:06, so we're technically done for the day. Unless you guys want to keep going. I mean, we could always keep going. I don't care. But this, it's been interesting because
surprised
I don't know.
I've lasted this long, but
you have to carry it somehow. But thanks to our special guest today. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in chat real quick. We'll wrap up here in a second. I don't know. There's not much more to say. I mean, I want to mock our enemies more, but there's not much to mock. You know, with MC dying and Moa dead.
We've been losing some ships trying to go through high sec. I really think they should change the entire high sec mechanics because we lost some ships. You know, just ignore the fact that we know how to deal with it and other people are doing it just fine. But some people have died, so they need to change the mechanic completely.
Keiko, you do realize that they did change the mechanic completely with freighters because our wonderful people in Minitrue learned how to bump them. So they made it that you can't bump them infinitely and then kill them 20 minutes later. If they hit warp, they're going to warp after 3 minutes. You do know they did that, right?
that was never added.
They never added it? I thought they added that like a year ago.
We complained too much.
Oh.
I got it removed. Yeah. High fives all around. Boom.
I know like a major part of my platform on the CSM. I think that cloaking modules, you should have to have, they should consume Plex when they cycle, and they should cycle like every minute. So you have to have them in your cargo if you want a cloaky camp.
I mean, the thing is that mean goons are going to reimburse that for all of our wonderful cloaky campers.
So those of you who don't know, Malcolm works at EA.
Yeah, nice.
There was that one time, and this is going to be the counter argument. So we complained about tracking titans, and then 2 years later they changed tracking titans. So obviously goons do control the CSM even more so.
Okay, I'm being told right now. Fozzie did talk about at Eve Down Under. He wants to reintroduce the 3-minute warp timer for bumping of freighters. So they're already looking at trying to do it again.
Don't worry, we have 5, no less than 5 FIVE CSMs that can delay this.
I thought that was 7.
I don't know anymore.
It's starting to look like the U.S. Supreme Court. I mean, we're just stacking the deck right now.
Will that work for other ships or just freighters? Because it would be really nice after 3 minutes, after my Titan's bumped off another Titan.
Oh,
if it would just automatically work. Like,
yeah. I wonder how that would work if it's just freighters, if that's all ships. Because you imagine if the enemy that's trying to kill your Erebus doesn't have any dictors or enough points, but they're just bumping you constantly, will he eventually warp off? For all ships, Apple Pear says. For all ships. So if you get bumped for more than 3 minutes, you're safe.
I'm sure it matters to like the people that enjoy high sec ganking, but honestly, I don't think most of us even care. if the change goes in, we adapt. You know, we basically just start at the stopwatch when we start bumping someone. You know, it's just going to be something that you have to adapt to, and they will, because this will not be the first time a high sec mechanic is changed because of goons. And that's the biggest difference right now between us and GOTG, is that when a change happens, we adapt. We don't just cry about it. We don't just have Doom Chinchilla sit in our chat and say, "Hey, you need to get the unanchoring timer changed, Sword Dragon."
Okay, Color. How's your shoulder feeling right now?
Is it dank league?
I don't know. It's fine.
You've just been doing so much patting yourself on the back that I was wondering if you stretched it a little bit.
You know, thinking about if there was a 3-minute timer, like I know that the high sec gankers, that would not be something they would celebrate. It would be an immense pain in the ass to have to work around, but there would still be like autopiloters cruising around that you'd be able to just predictably set up for a couple systems, and there would still be ways. That would be really tough.
I don't know. It's such a hard sell, though. Like, there's so many things that I think they could fix about this game. The question is how willing are they to fix the game? You know, how willing are they really to dive in there and get it fixed?
It's not that. It's the devs are very passionate about it. I think we've been through this before. It's they want some things changed, but they're just not told to by their bosses. Their bosses are pushing for other things to be changed, like the factional warfare stuff. It didn't change, didn't need to happen, but some fucking dude up top was like, "Hey, we need to fix this, boys."
Some asshole warped off because he had a warp core stab. Oh, this needs to change right now. Drop everything you're doing about FozzieSoft. Well, I mean, we can't call it that here.
the fact that we call it FozzieSoft. I don't even think he was the principal designer of it, was he?
I don't know. I just remember you can have Sov or you can have fun. That's the biggest quote I remember.
Was that from him?
He didn't say it in those words, but that was kind of the basis of what he was saying. People were like, "This isn't fun." He's like, "Well, if you want Sov, this is what you have to do."
Yeah, that was grayscale. Here's my thing, all right? And so this is something I want to see happen in the game. I want to see the game get to the point where all of EVE has enough supers and titans and carriers that one day you just see people throwing supers and titans at each other with no care in the world if they live or die. Right now, I think there's still too many people that care if they live or die, outside of maybe goons or PLNC. There's still too many people that their existence in the game hinges on those staying alive. And
well, I think if it doesn't matter, like if you get to the point where you're gate camping in Titans 5 regions away from where you live and you expect to lose them at the end of the night or something, that would be a tough for the permanence of the game, because that grind is what keeps, you know, the excitable new people. Bitter vets make up, you know, probably a smaller segment of the game population. The excitability of people that haven't gotten to the top of the mountain yet is what sustains a lot of activity out there.
Asher just texted me. He said his internet cut out.
Yeah, that's fine. We got to go anyway. It's 5:13. I have to go babysit in about 15 minutes. I'm going to be...
I'm kind of jealous of that guy called you and Asher text. I'm not that friendly with Asher yet.
You're not part of our, like...
Not part of the WhatsApp circle, no.
Alright, well, thank you, Merkel-chan, for stepping in for Mittens, who's gone. He will be back next week, is what I'm being told. Thumbs up, everybody. It's the shirt I'm wearing. It's a great shirt. And thanks to our guests. Asher, of course, is gone, but Jay and Kate Keller. For those who don't know, Jay Mason is also a very special person for the Minute Show. For the last few months, he has been our producer. He gets us all the guests. He gets us all the things. He makes all the notes, so it makes it really possible for me to do this show lately, because up until the summer, I was extremely busy with work and life and trying to get married. So
luckily, I don't have a life, so...
It's just been really easy. It makes things life a lot easier. So thanks, guys.
Boat shows up like 20 minutes before and it's like, hey, everything's all done for me. I just got to do it.
Yeah, it used to be I had to spend 2 hours doing it before the show, and it was just a lot.
Jay's like, here's everything written up, and Bo's just like takes the script, wipes his ass with it, and just goes with whatever he's gonna say anyway.
Wow, that's fucked up. I do not. I follow the script pretty well, thank you. But yeah, also a quick shout out for those of you that are a part of the NGSA. Please keep up doing the Lord's work. If you're not part of NGSA, you can sign up. It doesn't matter if you're in Goons or not. You can camp GOTG with us, and I'll give you the link to the website as we head out here. So thanks, guys, for coming today, and thanks all our guests. So anything else you guys want to say before we go?
If you're in GOTG, feel free to join the Alliance and come rat and mine with us, and just hang out, have some fun.
Buy Supers and Titans from SWAT VIP.
All right, see you guys.
You are about to receive messages that may be harmful to your mental state. Your sense of reality will be questioned. Your view on things will be altered. You are now part of the meta. The meta controls everything. The meta determines what will and will not happen. You are watching The Meta Show.